Well, Mother's Day is just around the corner, and there's a number of activities going on in Maine, including the Mother's Day Damariscotta River Cruises.
Yeah, joining us now is Olga Oros with the Damariscotta River Cruises. Thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so tell us just a little bit about what people can expect that day.
Well, hopefully the weather is going to break and we are going to have a nice sunny day in the 60s. So we are going to go at 1 o'clock. It's from 2 o'clock. It's a 2-hour boat ride, so it's from 1 to 3. And generally, this time of the year, it's a magical time on the river. The Damariscotta River is the oyster capital of Maine. And so we are going to see 11 oyster farms opening up for the season. And for me, spring is also the time when the alewives arrive on the river, and it's a fatty herring that the harbor seals follow up. So a lot of times they time to give birth to their seal pups around Mother's Day. I think it's very symbolic. And so a lot of times on the Mother's Day boat rides, we've seen even the harbor seals breastfeeding or just hanging on the rocks with their newly born pups.
Yeah, what are the kind of wildlife we see? I mean, that's pretty cool, though, to see the mother seals and the baby seals, too, huh?
Yeah, and then we see ospreys and bald eagles fixing up their nests, and some other, the Canada geese and other ducks are just arriving back to Maine. So it's a very busy time.
Oh, that is awesome. And we heard there might be some drinks available and oysters as well. Expand a little bit on that.
That's right. So on the boat, we have an oyster bar and the bar. So we represent all the oyster farms on the river, starting with the mild Norumbega oysters all the way up to the briny pemaquids. So we serve them on the half shell with homemade mignonettes. And we always come up with cocktails for the seasons and some sumptuous wines and Maine craft beer.
Damariscotta is such a quintessential Maine area. It's such an awesome place to go. What makes it so special, you think, up there?
Well, this is where I met my husband. This is where he was born. Also, there are many stories. So the river itself was also very famous for its boat building. So we touch up on that during our cruise. But I think it's just that it's such a hub for the oyster farms and the lovely world famous oysters. I think it's just the fact of that is already worth coming for.
Right, you're right in that perfect spot for that.
Yes.
If people want to make this into a whole weekend getaway, is there somewhere for them to stay nearby?
That's right. Well, this is my time then. Other than the tour boat, we also have 2 yachts, 42-foot yachts that we turned into a main boat hotel. So you can get it on Airbnb, you can sleep on a boat, and right now you can't swim off of it because it's a little chilly, but in the summertime, you can take a couple of kayaks out, and it's staying on the river is all about.
That's awesome.
The one thing that always blew my mind when it comes to oysters, there's so many, they taste differently depending on what part of the state you live in or you get the oysters from. What is it, do you think, that makes oysters at the Damariscotta River in that area so special?
What makes it special, in winemaking they talk about terroir, and in oyster farming, they started talking about merroir. So mer is the sea, and then in this time, the river. So depending on what part of the river the oyster grows, it gives a little different flavor, depending on the current, depending on the consistency of the bottom, whether it's muddy or rocky, how they farm the oysters, if they farm it on the bottom or if they have it expanded in these floating bags, we call them. They all add to a different flavor, even a different color and look of the oyster shell itself.
Ooh, I love oysters, so
me too.
That's some great information right there. So how much do tickets cost for these cruise rides here?
The adult tickets are generally $42, and children under 12 pay $34. And then in the summertime, we also introduce an oyster and wine tasting cruise to the mix on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 5 to 7. That's a $108 ticket, and that includes 10 oysters. So we choose 5 oyster farms from the river, and then as we cruise by them, we taste them. And the wine sommelier is going to match each of the oysters with a different wine.
A lot of folks watching right now, they'll watch online later. What makes this such a great Mother's Day gift?
Well, I think it's that time of the year when we celebrate and honor all our mothers in our lives, not only mothers but teachers, and it's always comes with a surprise. The wildlife you cannot predict, but I think a cocktail and an oyster is always a mom's pleaser.
Great pairing. And last question here, do you have a website where people can find more information about this?
Oh, absolutely. It's Damariscotta River Cruises.com. If it's too long, it's therivertripper.com. And if you want to sleep on a boat, you can find us on mainboathotel.com.
Sounds great. Sounds like a great event coming up on Saturday. Happy Mother's Day, huh?
Thank you very much. It's on Sunday at 1 o'clock.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot.